promises to do. Now, I want to make just a couple final points, and then we'll take some questions from the reporters. But one thing that really is really disgraceful that Kamala Harris's campaign does, and I want to say this, whether you're voting for us or not, and I would sure as hell hope that all of you are voting for me and Donald Trump for president. But we know, some people watching at home, we got a lot of cameras here, might be still making up their mind. I want to say something because I think that, in fact, I feel very confident that we're going to make Donald Trump the next president, my friends. I really do. Things are going good right now. But, to the folks watching at home, I want you to know that we care about the First Amendment in this country. And I want to bring it back to the illegal immigration issue because, look, what Kamala Harris, one of the biggest differences here is that Donald Trump, even if he disagrees with you, he will fight for your right to speak your mind and think what you want to think in the United States of America. That is the First Amendment. There's a reason the founders put it first. But if you look at Kamala Harris and you look at the way her surrogates and her campaign have responded to this illegal immigration problem, you realize that their solution to the illegal immigration problem in the United States of America, their solution to the economic crisis that's making groceries and housing unaffordable, it's not to deal with the problems and it's not to listen to the citizens. It is to silence people. It is to prevent them from speaking their mind, and that is our most fundamental right, is to speak our mind about what's going on in this country. And you hear this in a number of different ways. If you talk about, well, I want to pursue an economic policy. And I don't know if you saw this interview President Trump did yesterday. It's one of his best interviews. Seriously, go home and watch it. It's worth watching because he goes into the lion's den and he's talking to the leader of this very, very liberal, very globally focused magazine. And they're criticizing him for wanting to impose tariffs to protect American manufacturing and to bring some American manufacturing back into our country. Now, to me, it's a very simple equation. Look, if the Chinese are going to use slave labor to make all their stuff, and we want to pay Americans a good middle-class wage to make our stuff, we're going to have to levy a penalty. The people who want to use slave labor and then bring that crap into our country, no, you're going to pay a big fat tariff before you bring it back into our country. That is what we need to do. But this guy trots out and says, well, this person with this degree and this person with this credential says that this is not a good economic policy. And Donald Trump said, I don't care what they say because, one, they've been wrong for 25 years, and they have. And two, I was already president. I already did it. Judge the results for yourself. And I think most Americans would say the first Trump presidency was peace and prosperity. We'd like to get back to that. But think about this. When they say, well, this person with a fancy degree, or this person with a great credential, and I'm not against education, by the way. I'm an educated man. I'm sure there are a lot of educated people in this room. But it's one thing to use your education to learn, and it's another thing to use your education as a weapon to tell your fellow citizens to be silent about the problems in their own country. And that's a big, big difference. And so when they say, oh, no, Donald Trump doesn't know what he's talking about, or you shouldn't dare support Trump's economic policies because this person said it's wrong, you can point and say, I can judge by my own eyes, and Donald Trump's presidency was a success for me and my family, and that's what matters. And they do it. And to me, the grossest way that they do it is on this question of immigration, because they say that if you believe in having a border in this country, and Kamala Harris, her campaign, her surrogates, even Governor Walz, the poor guy, think about it. Y'all, I feel bad for him. Look, I have got the easiest job in American politics. I just have to defend the record of Donald J. Trump. Think about this. I just got to say, look, Tim Walz has to pretend the last 3.5 years of American history didn't happen. That's a tough job. He's got to defend the policies of Kamala Harris. That is a tough job. I don't envy him the task. But all these guys will go out there and they'll say, well, if you don't support illegal immigration, you're not compassionate. Or even if you dare to criticize Kamala Harris's open border, they'll say you're a racist or you're a xenophobe. You've all seen that. Well, here's our message to Kamala Harris. You should stop talking to your fellow citizens like they're subjects instead of your equals. Our message to Kamala Harris is stop trying to silence us for noticing that you're doing a damn terrible job. And our message to Kamala Harris is there is nothing racist about loving your country and securing your border, and it's disgraceful for you to call us names instead of doing your friggin' job. Go do your job, Kamala Harris. Stop calling us bad people. I almost said the other F word. I would have gotten in trouble for that, so I'm okay. I'm okay. All right. One final point, and then we'll take some questions from reporters here. We are going to win this race, but only if, and this is a big if, we vote. And I want to make sure I get this website right, so I'm bringing up my notes here. There's a website that lets you check your registration. It lets you check your polling location. It lets you make sure your registration is updated. And I'd encourage you to go for it. Go to it. It's called swampthevoteusa.com. I'm going to make a few requests, and that's the first one, swampthevoteusa.com. Now, that is the website that is going to help us get our voters out to the polls. Because this election is tight, my friends. I think we're going to win, but in Pennsylvania and a few other states, it's really tight. And we have to get so many votes that whatever crap the Democrats pull, we are going to overwhelm their BS, and we're going to make Donald Trump the next president of the United States. And I think, by the way, look, I know a lot of folks are frustrated by what happened in 2020. Trust me, I'm frustrated. But we have done more, the RNC has done more on election integrity in the past 3 months than the Republican Party had done in the last 3 years. It's a record to be proud of. And I won't tell you that everything is perfect, but I will tell you we're doing a lot better now than we were 4 years ago. So make sure you get out there and make your voices heard. And don't look, I am the biggest critic of election season in the world. But it is what it is. And if they're going to have a 30-day election season, then Republicans need to take as much advantage of it as Democrats, and that includes all the independents and Democrats who are going to vote for Donald J. Trump. So get out there, do the early voting, do the absentee voting, vote however makes the most sense for you, but trust me, there's a whole scientific data obsession behind this, that if we bank enough votes by Election Day, Donald Trump is the next president, and if we don't, Kamala Harris is. So save us all from that nightmare and get out there, make your voices heard. And here's two more things I'm going to ask you. Third, I want you to get out there, and I want you to vote not just once, but I want you to vote 10 times. Now, I know I got some laughs, but I got some people thinking, well, we're Republicans. We only vote once. We do things the old-fashioned way. Well, here's the way to vote 10 times the legal way. Take yourself to the polls and get 9 other people to go along with you. Because I know, look, I know that every single person in this room, including me, know a lot of people who would vote for Donald Trump, but only if they actually showed up. And so we've got to do the hard work necessary to make sure they show up. And look, we know these folks. They don't pay that close attention to politics, but they're good people. They take care of their families. They do a good job at work. Let's just make sure they get out there and vote. And here's the final thing I want to ask you before we take some questions. Every single one of us has a voice. And whether we're on social media or whatever social media platform that we're on, whether it's just sending text messages, sending emails, or making phone calls, we all have the ability to be what I'll call a force multiplier for the Trump campaign. And here's what I'd like you to do. Whether it's right now or whether it's when I'm taking questions from the reporters, take out your phones, take a photo, post it on social media, and say why you're voting for Donald J. Trump for president. Because think about this. We've got, I don't know, it looks like over 1,000 people in this room. That's a guess. But if every single person reaches 100 people, that's 100,000 people. That's 100,000 people that we can cut through the BS and we can cut through the dishonesty of the press, and we can just get the message that we're going to make this country great again. And I really do believe that after 3 years of the Kamala Harris failure, Pennsylvania is going to make Donald Trump the next president, and we're going to unleash a golden age of prosperity in this country. And it's up to us. If you want higher inflation, more chaos, and more open borders, well, Kamala Harris is your gal. But if you want a golden age of American prosperity, if you want affordable housing and groceries, a peaceful world, and a secure southern border, let's get out there and make Donald J. Trump our next president. God bless you all. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Remember, I'm so grateful for the warm reception.